Hey beauties, it's Riri. If you're new here, I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty, and I love showcasing indie brands here on my channel. If that sounds like your cup of tea, please consider subscribing and give the video a thumbs up. If you want to stick around and see more of me, turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. And today it's all about our top beauty picks for 2022. And we have a lot to get through, and I'm going to move as quickly as I can, but y'all know what I say. If this gets too long, gotta be tacos and your tequila, your milk and your cookies, your Doritos, your Cheetos, your Fritos, whatever is your pleasure, and sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Also, elephant in the room, 2 different eye looks. I know I just wrapped up filming another video. You guys would have seen that before this one. It's the new Nomad Cosmetics palette, but I didn't want to take my makeup off. So we're going to dive in. I'm going to start first with a couple of skincare products. I will note that I absolutely love the Fenty Skin Hand Cream. I'll pop a picture here. Obsessed. Absolutely love it. It is a beautiful, thick, rich, very intense, more like silicone-y or kind of petroleum hand treatment. Best used overnight, and it has a lovely scent. If you don't like fragrance at all, maybe not for you, but outstanding product, phenomenal product of the year. Next up is the Kate Somerville Goat Milk Moisturizing Cleanser. This is my second one. If you have very dry, sensitive skin like I do, I think you'll really love this. It's not got a fragrance to it at all. It lathers up beautifully. You don't need a whole lot. It serves the purpose. It does not over dry the skin or strip the skin of its natural oils. I really, really love this. Highly, highly recommend. Next up is one that I recently discovered. I got it in my IPSY and I used the entire thing. I want to buy the full size. It's incredible. It is the Bio Pear Serum Oil. Of course, this one's completely empty already. This is so thick and intense, and it has that beautiful serum-y slip, but the way that it dries down, you guys, it feels almost like it's got this soft kind of blurred powder finish to it when it dries down. Incredibly hydrating. It looks phenomenal on the skin. It illuminates and brightens the skin. I love that stuff. Perfection. I'm quickly going to dive into what I have on my face today. I'm also going to note that these are not just products that came out in 2022. These are products that I personally discovered in 2022 or really fell in love with. They're not necessarily products that came out, in 2022. But on my complexion today, I have on my JOUER Anti-Aging Moisture Primer. If you're looking for something that is intense hydration and quite moisturizing, but not thick, it has a beautiful, very lightweight texture to it, which I really, really love. And it blends out so incredibly easy into the skin, and it gives a luminous quality to the skin, but it doesn't ever look oily or anything like that. It's not like crazy looking on the skin or anything. Love, love, love. It's a beautiful formula. Obsessed. Next up, I went in with my e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. This is their Glow Booster for Radiant Skin. This is in the shade, I think I have light medium. Yes, shade 3, light medium. Obsessed. I love it. And I have powder and powder products on my complexion today, and you can still see this beautiful lit from within quality that I have. This is perfection. If I'm having a really good day and Rosacea Riri is not out to play, I love this just by itself. I love to just pat this out, a little bit of mascara, a lip oil, and I'm done. It's beautiful. It's quite thin of a formulation. I really love the component. I love that it has an enormous doe foot applicator on it, and it looks like it has more pigment than it really does. Don't let that scare you, because it does blend out almost sheer. Like, there's enough of a kiss of coverage to it that it gives you a little something something, and you can see that it gives a beautiful glow, but it's a lit from within kind of kiss or just a little whisper of glowiness. So I think even if you have oily skin, as long as you kind of set the complexion down, I think you would love this. Highly, highly recommend. It is absolutely stunning. I also went in today with my Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. This is in the shade 190 Light Medium Neutral Warm. I will say I feel like this shade, I got this originally going into like spring and summer, and it was already light. Like, it's a winter shade for me. So I feel like the shade range is a little lighter than what you think it's going to be. So I definitely recommend going up a couple shades. Like I said, this to me does not scream light medium. Right now I'm a light warm, definitely not a light medium. But you can see it offers beautiful medium coverage. You can build it up a little bit It's very skin-like. It wears incredibly well on my skin. Please keep in mind I do have dry, textured, mature skin, but it lasts all day on me. It blends out so incredibly beautifully. It doesn't settle and get all crazy and crepey on me. I'm obsessed. I love this stuff so much. And I tested this out in a video, and everything that I talk about, there's a video of me with it, testing it out. So just type in The Brutally Honest Beauty or go to my channel and you can search that up. I did also test out the Kosas powder that day. This is the Feathery Cloud Set powder. I really love this. It is what I'm wearing today, and I'm not a huge fan of powder. As you guys know, this is basically the only powder that I have, and I think the only one that I tried this particular year. Incredibly soft, very, very finely milled, and you can see, even though it's a powder, there's a slight, not even a luminosity to it, like a sateen type of finish to it. Meaning, yes, it's a powder, but it's not a flat, stark, like chalky powder. It looks stunning on the skin. I love this. Highly, highly recommend. These two are a match made in heaven. Obsessed. It's obviously what I'm wearing today. I also have on, I know this launched in 2021. I did not try it till 2022, but it is the Hoola Glow from Benefit. Love. Love, love, love. Again, I have dry skin, so anything that I can get a luminous quality from, I'm down for, and this is absolutely stunning. Again, it gives just a beautiful kiss of a kind of lit from within quality. It lasts well on the skin. It blends out well, never becomes patchy or muddy. I love this. If you are somebody like me that you do have dry skin, I really like to either use cream product and then build them up a little bit, or I like blushes and bronzers and stuff that have just a little bit of a luminous quality. Not glitter, not sparkle, not a bunch of craziness. This is perfection in my eyes. My highlighter today is the Colourpop Flexatarian. It is beautiful. It's beaming, but it's also glass-like and blends seamlessly into the skin instead of sitting on top of the skin like a big stripe. My mirror is right here, and it just, every time I wear this, y'all, I feel beautiful. It makes me feel so incredibly beautiful. The Super Shock highlighters, they have different, variations, different shades. Some of them have glitter and sparkle. This is just a beautiful high shine, like wet looking glass-like finish that I'm absolutely obsessed with. I mean, hello, do you see that? And I always use my fingers. Every time I use this product, I'm gonna go in with a tiny, tiny bit more because less is more with this product. I go in with my fingers and I softly pat it into place. I mean, look how, you guys, hello. And I just pat it into place. It lasts all day. It wears incredibly well on my skin, and it doesn't, I do have textured skin, and this is not something that completely emphasizes the texture of my skin. I think that it's beautiful. Y'all, I love it, and it's like $6 or $8. I mean, incredibly, incredibly affordable. My brows today were my She Glam. That is not a brand that I buy from or support anymore. That is just personal preference. You do you, of course, but it is the She Glam. The Skinny Brow Pencil, and I have the shade, I don't even know because it doesn't actually say, but it was incredibly affordable. I liked it the first time that I tried it, and it's almost gone. That's all I have left. But the shade is lovely. It's nice and fine, and it has a beautiful level of opacity to it and a good level of pigmentation to it. But it's not waxy, it doesn't tug or anything like that. It wears incredibly well. I like a brow pencil that is super, super precise so that I can get small little, feathery strokes. One that has a kind of blend of a little bit creamy, but a little bit hard and waxy, and I like smack dab in the middle. I like it to be firm enough that it's not crumbling off and it doesn't become a weird, creamy, mushy mess in my brows, but I don't want it so stiff that it's breaking off or that it's clumping up in my brows or tugging on my skin. Another one that I really love, I have a new one right here. It is the Real Her I Am Strong Definer Brow Pencil. I've gone through multiple of these. I have at least 5 at all times. No, I'm not joking at all. I go through a ton of brow product. Brow product and mascara are my most used products. And then I also went in today with my Milani Weekend Brow Pen. This is in the shade Medium Brown. I love this stuff. It is so incredibly beautiful, so easy to use. I literally will take my brow pencil, sometimes I just use this, but today I took the She Glam just across the top, a little bit of a line underneath, and then soft feathery strokes, and just fill it in with this. and it's perfection. I absolutely love it. Very affordable, very long lasting, bulletproof, and the shade is great. I love it. It's super easy. I will say kind of less is more. Make sure you're using a very soft approach to this and doing soft feather-like strokes, because it can look a little crazy, a little intense if you go too far. Next up, I went in with my Milani Color Statement Lip Liner. This is the shade Nude. Now, I will say, these are not always my favorite. It is a kind of old school, traditional pencil one. You can see I've used the heck out of this one. But it's so nice, you guys. It's incredibly creamy. Like, I mean, I can go in with this and blend the entire thing around like it's a lipstick. It lasts all day, though, and I love that kind of mid-ground, again, how I like my brow pencils, where it's firm enough that it's got some grip and it's gonna stay in place, but then it's not super creamy and it's breaking off and it's gunking up, but then it's not so hard that it's tugging on my skin. Perfection. Love. And then I went on top today with the Lunar Beauty lip gloss in the shade Divine. Yo, this is so beautiful. It smells incredible. I love the little doe foot applicator. It is the wettest, juiciest, yummiest lip gloss. Almost more like an oil with just a little bit more viscosity to it. Just a little bit more like thickness to it. And then the little sparkle in here, you can see it on the lips. And it looks beautiful and it looks intense and high shine, but you don't feel it. I cannot stand a gloss that I can actually feel the texture from the glitters on there, from the mica. I don't love that, but I mean, this together, you guys, everything that I used today, the base products with this, perfection, in my opinion. And I went in with my Maybelline Sky High Mascara. I know this was a favorite also from last year. I just can't get enough of it, you guys. I love this mascara. If you are looking for length, and something that builds up incredibly well, is long lasting, I have not had any issues with any type of flaking or anything like that. And of course, it's like under 10 bucks. Love. Next up, we're gonna go into the Colourpop Lippy Pencil. This is in the shade So Happy. Love, love, love. If you guys ever, and you guys ask me all the time, if I have a wash of color to my lips, it is one of these lip liners and either my Lunar Beauty lip gloss, my Too Faced Lip Injection Maximum Plump, which is coming up next, or I have on my Cab lip oil, which is also coming up, or I have my JOUER lip enhancer on. Those are the 4 things I typically will wear. I'll throw on a liner and then throw on one of those. I like to have hydrated lips, especially for filming. Okay, that leads me into the next product, which is a holy grail, not just a top for 2022. It's the Too Faced Lip Injection Maximum Plump. You can see this one I'm getting through very quickly, and I've already gone through another full-size one and a mini one. Love, 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 love. It's fantastic. If you are very sensitive, where you've tried plumpers before and you do not like that tingling sensation, you're not going to like this. This is not the product for you. However, I like to come in, I do my eye drops, I make sure that my skin is moisturized, and I put this on, or one of the other few that I mentioned. It gives a beautiful kind of, you know, flush, and like the blood kind of rushes to the top of your lips, and it kind of makes your lips look like your lips, but better. I love it. It's fantastic. It lasts a long time, but unlike some other lip plumpers I have tried, it does not dry my lips out. They stay hydrated for a very, very long time. Fantastic. Cannot say enough. Obsessed. Next is the Cab Lip Oil. I'm not going to open this one. The other one that I have is almost gone. It is in my nightstand. I got this as a duo with a lime one in my IPSY Glam bag. I gifted the lime one, and then I bought another set of the 2 because this is fantastic, you guys. First of all, I love the component. It is massive. It has a large doe foot applicator. It smells great. I put this on almost every single night, and it has this beautiful, thick, rich texture to it. It has a little bit of weight to it, but it's not sticky at all. It feels intense. It feels intense. It's great hydration. It's soothing on the lips. I wake up in the morning and it is still on my lips, and my lips feel hydrated. Obsessed. And if you do get like BOXYCHARM, IPSY, whatever, and you can go in and find it in like the pop-up sales, I say run, don't walk. Beautiful product. Love. Next up, another love is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss. I do have the shade Amber. This is absolutely stunning. It's a very lightweight gloss, has a little bit of opacity to it, but it's not dense or anything like that. Love the doe foot applicator. Love, love, love this shade. That is a dreadful swatch. Love the shade so much, and it has a little bit of opacity to it. Little bit of color, a beautiful level of shine, but it's not sticky, it's not heavy, gloopy, tacky, nothing like that. You guys know I do not like anything that is tacky or sticky. If it's sticky, you know, it doesn't dry down, whatever the case may be, I am not using it. Next up, I'm not sure if I discovered this year, but I'm 99% sure that I did, and I've used it quite a bit. It's the About Face Paint It Lip Color. These are the matte ones, and this is the shade Last Goodnight. I actually used this pretty recently. Beautiful, beautiful formula. It very much reminds me of the Clarins, the Velvet Lip Perfectors, where it has this beautiful kind of moussey, velvety, soft, whipped texture. It dries down, and it dries down completely matte, but it's not overly matte. It's not overly drying. It doesn't emphasize like lines and texture. It's fantastic. It literally feels like you're not wearing anything when you use this, and it's bulletproof. It lasts a very, very long time on the lips. Highly, highly recommend. I definitely want to try more from them. Next up, I'm going to talk about some eye primers. Today I have on my Glamlite Icing Eye Base and Buttercream, nothing new. Love. If you're looking for something that is a thinner consistency, but it also covers everything, it takes away any sallowness, it takes away the veining, it takes away darkness, but it's still a very thin formula and it's not tacky. We just had this discussion with the lip products. I don't like anything tacky at all, okay? Other than my clothes. Love. Highly, highly recommend. Bulletproof. I genuinely notice a difference when I use this versus if I don't use a primer at all. Love. And then I know this isn't new, but I discovered it last year. I believe it was last year, but the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer, my favorite eye primer of all time. It's very reminiscent of the icing from Glamlite. It's a little bit thinner, but the texture of this, the consistency of it, it's also a little bit more hydrating than the Glamlite. So if I'm noticing that, you know, my eyeshadow, because I do have dry skin and I have dry lids and texture on my lids, I notice that if I get really, really dry and my shadows are starting to like patch up or anything, you know, something like that, they're not blending out well, I will use this versus the Glamlite. I still love the Glamlite. That's number 2 for sure. But this one just has a little bit of a thinner formulation to it, and it's a little bit more hydrating. Cannot say enough. Obsessed. I love, love, love. Next up is a product that I've repurchased multiple times. I got backup right here. It's the NYX Thick It Thickening Brow Mascara. I always get the shade Brunette. I love this so much. This is actually, I have 2 open right now because one of them is usually in my overnight bag. Just so you see how much I love this. I love that this has like the little fibers with it. Again, it has a really small applicator. So not only does it give a little kiss of color, but it adds the little fibers to it, and I feel like it gives you a little bit of a thickening effect as well. Also bulletproof. Love the color. Buy backups. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It lasts all day. They have several different colors, and I just like that little extra something that it gives. If you already have great brows, but maybe they're just too light, or you want to just kind of make them, you know, kind of stand up in place, I highly recommend just using this. Go in with just this and give it a little something, something to the brows. Love it. Another favorite I discovered this year, and another repurchase, and one that I've gone through quite a few, is the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen, also in the shade Brunette. Very much the same as the Milani. They're to me, I don't notice a huge difference in these at all. Absolutely love. Same premise. I love the color. I love that it's very fine and it gives enough. I love that it's very fine. It's very easy to work with. Again, I use it the exact same way as the Milani. It's also drugstore. And this combination right here, perfection. Next up, I know that I really like this mascara, but I also have a kind of and then y'all don't like this mascara. Y'all be talking a lot of shit about this mascara, but it's good in my opinion. It's the Milk Makeup The Rise Mascara. I love this. I think it is absolutely amazing. I will say though, it dries out incredibly fast. So if you do use this and you try this, you're gonna wanna go through it pretty quickly because it does dry out fast. I like a more dry formula, so that's fine by me. I also really love the curved wand, and I like a more kind of soft, fluffy wand, so it's perfection to me. I didn't get any clumping or anything like that. It gives a lot of lift and a lot of volume. That's what I really love in a mascara, but it does dry down a lot. So if you do not like a drier formula or you're not going to use it up, I wouldn't recommend it, but me personally, I love it. Next up is the I Love It When You Call Me Big Pop mascara from Wet n Wild. It's fantastic, and this is like a $8 mascara. Love the component. It nostalgia vibes. It brings back a whole lot of memories. This is the type of wand that I really love. It's more of like an hourglass shaped, again, like a soft, fluffy type of wand. This is incredibly black. It's kind of a mid-ground. It's not super, super dry, but then it's also not incredibly wet where I just feel like it just clumps everywhere. It's that perfect blend of not being too wet, but then not being incredibly dry. Lasts a long time on the lids. Lots of lifting, lots of volume, like I love. Drugstore pricing. It lasts all day. I've never had an issue with any type of sensitivities or reaction to it, and it lasts all day. No clumping, no nothing. Love. Next up are the best, although they're being rivaled, I think, a little bit by the NYX products, the best cream blushes I've ever used, period, ever. They're the Keys Soul Care. I have the shades Grace and Sensual. Fantastic. Fantastic. They're not what I have on my cheeks today, and I actually forgot to tell y'all what my blush was today, but is the Moon Prism palette from Lunar Beauty. I went in with the shade Spacey. Holy Grail status, love, love, love. Blends well, love the different shade ranges in here, love the different finishes. They blend well, they don't stick and get muddy and patchy. They wear incredibly well. They look so beautiful and blurred and soft on the skin. Highly, highly recommend, love. Sorry, I forgot to talk about that earlier. However, these blushes from Keys Soul Care, they have this beautiful blend, or this kind of beautiful mid-ground, again, of having this incredibly soft, creamy texture. And you can really build them up if you want to, or you can really sheer them out. And I like that they kind of start out, you can see a little bit of a sheen, but once they're on the complexion, they do dry down a little bit more, but they don't dry down to a like flat matte, which I absolutely love. They blend incredibly well and they last forever on my skin. Love them, obsessed. If you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, I highly recommend the e.l.f. Putty Blushes and Putty Bronzers. I have the e.l.f. Putty Blush and Bronzer here, and I also really love the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush. The putty blush that I have is in the shade Bali. Absolutely love the shade. This is another one that it's a little bit more kind of thick, the way that the Keys Soul Care is. It has a tiny bit of a luminous quality to it. You can build them up, or you can sheer them out, and they don't dry down to like a flat matte, and I love that, especially for somebody like myself that does have drier skin. I feel like they last a very, very long time on my particular skin type. I'm obsessed with these. They're beautiful. They have several different colors. Love. The e.l.f. Putty Blush is pretty much the same type of consistency, a little bit thicker. This is in the shade Honey Drip. And I typically will go in, I put a little bit on my hand if I'm using these types of products. Let me just show you what it looks like. Now this is a little bit more matte, but it's also more of a like soft blurring matte, as you can see right here. But I will put a bunch on my hand. I will go in with a slightly firmer or more kind of densely packed brush, and I will pounce it on the complexion. I've never found that it disrupts my makeup underneath. Again, very long lasting, and it blends incredibly well. Following up with another bronzer, we have the Colourpop Beachin Super Shock Bronzer. This is also a more matte formula. I love this. It's another one that's slightly more firm, a little bit more of a matte texture to it. And the same thing, you can start it out and build up the level of opacity, or you can also sheer it out a little bit. For me, again, it blends really well. It looks beautiful and kind of diffused and soft on my skin, and it lasts all day long. Love. Really, really love that. Another bronzer that I fell in love with this year, very affordable as well, is the LA Girl Matte Bronzer. This is in Sunset Glow. As you can see, it is a massive pan. It's about as big as my big old head is, honey. This, I will say, it can stick in place, especially this shade. It was much darker on me than I anticipated it was going to be when I tested this out. So less is more, and I always go in for bronzer with a very wide fluffy brush and a tiny, tiny bit of this, and tap it off because it is incredibly pigmented, and if you do not go in kind of less is more, it will get a little bit muddy. It'll get patchy a little bit. Aside from that though, I like to just kind of swirl it around in both, and I kind of stay up against the hairline, and it lasts all day. And it's matte, but it's more like a soft satin type of matte consistency, if that makes any sense. Meaning it's matte, and you can see that it has a little bit of a like luminous quality to it. And it looks beautiful on the skin. And I like that it doesn't look super flat on the skin. Less is more, highly pigmented, but I definitely just recommend going in and maybe just diffusing it a little bit or go in with a soft fluffy brush, but lasts all day on the skin. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning and I love it. Next up, we're going to dive into Juvia's Place, and I should have put this with my brows. Y'all, this was not plain, like I didn't say, okay, I'm going to do mascara, eyes, this, that. I just wanted to put it all in front of me and just talk about it and just be casual about it. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. But the Juvia's Place Eye Shade Eye Sculpt line, or Eye Sculpt Eye Shade, I have the brow pen, and I did also have the brow mascara. That's also in my overnight bag. Beautiful products, very reminiscent again of the other ones that I've talked about. I will say that these are a little bit more wet, more comes out, and they're way more pigmented than the other couple that I talked about. So just note that. Again, going very, very light-handed, very soft, nice soft feathery strokes. Highly recommend the brow pencil, the same as the other ones. Nice and firm, but not so firm that it's tugging and pulling. Stays in place, bulletproof. They're incredibly, incredibly pigmented though. Just, mama warned you. That's all I gotta say about that. Next up, we have the Fenty Beauty. This is their Bright Fix Eye Brightener in Golden Ivory. Love. Obsessed. If I was not using concealer today, and I also forgot to tell you what concealer I was wearing, it's a shit show as per usual. I'm sorry. If you're new here, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Anyways, if I did not have concealer on, I would have gone in with this. I don't like to build up too much product on my under eyes, but this is for me, it's enough of a concealer that I can use it just as a concealer and a corrector. But it's in this beautiful kind of peachy tone, yellowy tone, which really helps to illuminate and brighten, but it is such a lightweight, thin, and hydrating formula. I just put a little dot, I will tap it out with my fingers, and it just looks stunning. It looks absolutely beautiful even by itself. If I'm, having a really good skin day and Rosacea Riri is not showing her ass for the day, and my skin's looking great, I will go with some e.l.f. Halo Glow. This looks beautiful with it. Tap it out just a little bit. It's absolutely stunning. It's so incredibly lightweight. It doesn't get cakey or anything like that. It doesn't feel heavy. Love. It is a little pricey, but I mean, a little goes a long way, so I really love it. On my under eye today, dropped the ball when I talked about what was on my face today, is my Tarte Ultra Creamy, favorite concealer of my entire life. It's beautiful. I have the shades Light Sand. This is the one that I use to do my brows, and I've gone through many of the mini size, and I also have one in my overnight bag. And then the one that I use for kind of more under my eyes and then spot concealing is in the shade Light Medium Sand. The Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy, you guys, is my favorite concealer of life. It is beautiful. Love the doe foot applicator. It has a beautiful, I don't feel like it's super crazy full coverage, but it's medium to medium full coverage. But as you can probably see, there's a beautiful level of opacity here, but it's non-drying, and it doesn't feel quite as kind of thick and matte as the original Tarte Shape Tape. I love this. And again, I'm about to be 44 years old, y'all. We have very dry skin. We've got, some signs of aging and stuff, and you can see that it looks beautiful. I still look soft and kind of radiant and luminous underneath my eyes, but I have the coverage that I want. There's no sallowness, there's no darkness, but it's not settling, it's not caking up. It dries down beautifully, but it always has just this little lightweight, just kind of flush of hydration to it, but the coverage and stuff is beautiful. It wears well on my skin. I'm obsessed with this. There are a couple that I really like and that I would repurchase, but this one right here, if somebody has more dry textured skin, mature skin, this is what I'm recommending to you. It's good. It's real good. Moving on. A couple more concealers that I really like. The Lys Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. Very reminiscent of that one. I feel like it's a little bit more coverage. Very much like the Tarte Shape Tape. I hate the component. This freaking thing does not want to ever come out of here because of the way that it is bent. I like the shape of it because it gets, right in the crevice, but it's just really, really hard to get in and out. This is very much the same as the Tarte Shape Tape, but it's a little bit heavier and it creases just a little bit on me personally. But if you're looking for one and you can't find the Tarte Shape Tape, or you're just kind of looking to support a Black-owned business, Highly recommend. Another one that I highly recommend, this one is a little bit more full coverage than those. It's the Air Hug Concealer from Item Beauty. I have the shade 210. Also really love the component. Love the doe foot applicator as well. And this one has a little bit more of a kind of more matte type of finish to it. And it is definitely, in my opinion, a little bit more full coverage than the Tarte Shape Tape. I think you can probably even see just on my hand that it's definitely a little bit more drying, or a little bit drier of a formula. I should have kept this open. I'll go ahead and put the LYS on here too. And the LYS, like I said, is very much, it's the most similar to the Tarte Shape Tape. Let me kind of press that out a little bit. So that is the LYS Beauty. You can see there's just a little bit of a luminous quality to it, whereas the Item Beauty one, it definitely kind of settles down a little bit more matte, not quite as kind of hydrating as some of the other ones are.
Hey beauties, it's Editing Riri here. Guess what? I did not mention my actual all-time favorite foundation, my new holy grail that I discovered this summer, and I only don't have it because it was a summer shade, so I got rid of it. But the Yensa Super Silk Serum Foundation, holy grail, best foundation I've ever tried. I look rough. All right, I love y'all. Bye.
Next up, we're going to dive into our palettes, and I'm just quickly going to run through them. I have looks using every single palette, so if you're intrigued, and I don't want to be here for 8,000 years, y'all, I'm so sorry. Look, I like to talk. First up is the Natasha Denona My Dream Palette. I have used this multiple times. I love Natasha Denona's formula, and this color story was just a wow for me. I loved it. I loved the looks that I created. I love the color story. The shimmers in here and the duochromes are fantastic. They blend so incredibly well. They're silk-like. They wear well all day. Their mattes are phenomenal, like 10 out of 10. Incredible, incredible, incredible. I'm so happy to have this. Next up, I'm just going to say right now that I think Gourmande Girls killed it in 2022. I'm just going to talk about all three that I just love, love, love. We have the Radioactive palette, we have the Spooked palette, and we have the Ethereal palette. I love that she came out with these palettes that are just shimmers or just multi and duochrome shades. Obsessed. And I've never been, until I think this, other than like a JOUER one that I have, until this particular palette, until this year also, I've never really been somebody that would say, oh, I'm going to go buy an all shimmer or all duochrome or all whatever palette, but I'm obsessed. They're beautiful. They blend out incredibly well. They last all day on the lids. The shifts are quite visible. They're a seamless blend. I love them. The Spooked palette literally is one of the best palettes, one of my favorite palettes just of life, of all time. I think she absolutely killed this. Of course, it's a little bit more kind of moody. It's definitely more geared towards like fall, Halloween. I get that. But again, beautiful formula. Her mattes are fantastic. They build up beautifully. I think she killed it. I think she had a phenomenal year this year, especially with these particular launches. I mean, the Spooked palette, I've talked nonstop about it. It sold out. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her. And then the Radioactive palette. Again, not one that I typically would have gravitated toward, being an all shimmer type palette, but I love these as just beautiful companion palettes, and they work with any other palette that you may have. And you can see, again, I have looks with everything. You can see just how beautiful these are, the beautiful shifts in here, and how glass-like and smooth they are. And as somebody that does have mature skin, textured skin, dry lids, that's super important to me, and they last all day on the lids. Next up is the Colourpop Clay It Cool palette. This is like the little palette that could. This is perfection. When I did my first impressions on this, I also took it that next time that we went to go see Caleb. Beautiful. I love the level of depth. I love that they have the soft bone shade here. I like that they have the shimmers here. They have the mattes. It's great. It's absolutely phenomenal quality. They blend out really well. They lasted all day on the lids. It was super compact and easy to take along with me for travel. Highly, highly recommend. I think they nailed it with this palette. It's stunning. Next up, y'all know my love for indie brands. I mean, Gourmande Girls, Lunar Beauty, Nomad Cosmetics. Speaking of Nomad Cosmetics, this is the Nomad Cosmetics Hudson Valley. This was gifted to me. Thank you so much, Nomad Cosmetics. I've used this so many times since receiving it. This literally is like the quintessential Riri palette. If you are new here, I love reds, golds, warm tone yumminess, but then I also love and obsessed with grunge, with green and with gold and stuff like that. This is perfect in my personal opinion. I think they nailed this as a beautiful fall forward color story, but I would use it year round. Blends incredibly well. The shimmer formula is kind of their shimmer formula that I'm used to. Very soft, very smooth, very buttery. The mattes are incredibly pigmented here as well. They're long lasting. I always feel like they blend out incredibly well and they don't get muddy, patchy, or anything like that. The gradient is always easy to achieve and it's very long lasting on the lids. The reason why I went ahead and kept this on my lids is because this is their newest palette and I was going to be talking about Nomad, so I know it's kind of cheating, but sorry, it is what it is. Love, fantastic, and I really love, other than the shimmers in this that are a little bit finicky, love this palette as well. Next up is the Hala palette from Odin's Eye and Angelica Nyqvist. Their formula, y'all, 10 out of 10. I love this color story. It's absolutely stunning. Again, kind of goldy, grungy, greeny up here. The duochromes in here, the shimmer formula in here, they blend incredibly well. Again, absolutely stunning. The mattes blend really, really well too. Very long lasting on the lids, which is super important for me. I would love to try more from them. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, you know, I would have every one that they have come out with. And I missed out on the Christmas ones. But if you've not tried Odin's Eye though, you guys, highly recommend. And y'all know my love for indie brands. Just the artwork, the layout, their formula is impeccable. Speaking of a fantastic formula that is impeccable, Glam Light, they're probably in my top 5 for sure. Especially their shimmer formula. But this is the Creeps and Crawls. Again, I have a lookup with this as well. This is the Creeps and Crawls palette from Scooby. I love her thought and intention behind all of her launches. The same goes pretty much across the board for most of these brands as well. I like a brand that doesn't just say, oh, I'm going to call it this, but then the names don't match with what the theming is, or the actual color story doesn't go together. This very much screams Scooby-Doo to me, and I am a Scooby-Doo fan. And the color story I am obsessed with. It's very dark, very moody, very like jewel toned. Y'all, their shimmer formula, I have said this for years, it's hard to beat. It's up there. It is definitely hard. It is definitely hard to beat. It is a 10 out of 10 formula in my personal opinion. They are quite opaque. I'm going to go ahead and swatch these on my hands too for y'all so y'all can see the sparkle in these. They're opaque. They blend out well. They're super beautiful and super smooth, very high shine, very fulled, very glittery and sparkly and yummy, but it doesn't stop there because their matte formula is just as good. I will note that they're maybe not always the most like beginner friendly just because they feel more like pressed pigments, if I dare say. So if you're unfamiliar with that formulation, it may be a little bit finicky for you, but I absolutely love this palette. I'm obsessed. I really want to get the other one too, just because this one's so good. But Glam Light is one of those brands that you guys, the hype around Glam Light is real. They are a phenomenal brand and quite affordable as well. Let me wipe my hand. I'll be right back. Next up, I know I was late to this party. I'm always late to the party, y'all. But it was the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Surge palette. Love. This is up there with Glam Light. First of all, love the color story. I love that there's a beautiful pastel row, a kind of brights row, a deeper moody row, the shimmers, and then your neons. It corresponds beautifully kind of as a whole, or you can go, you know, or you can go down per row. I've used this a couple of times. I'm also going to be using it very soon for a palette bingo with you guys. Beautiful. Very much, in my opinion, the closest to Glam Light out of probably any other brand. The same thing. Very, very opaque and easy to work with mattes. They blend out well. They layer well, and then the shimmer formula is absolutely stunning. Also very opaque, very long lasting on the lids. You can very clearly see the shifts if there are shifts in them. Lasts all day on the lids. Cannot say enough. Highly, highly recommend. I also want their new collection. Moving along, we're almost done, y'all. We're almost done. Next up was the very first item that I got to try from Clionadh, and the hype was real. This was another one that it was an all shimmer palette, and y'all know, I've already said it, that is not typically what I gear toward. But I felt like when I saw this, you know, kind of leaked at first, I was like, you know what? I've wanted to try them forever, like literally for years. And I don't always have the money to pick and choose and say, well, let me buy this, this, or this. But I feel like in a palette, you get your best bang for your buck. This formula, you guys, is absolutely outstanding, phenomenal. There's some in here that are more like kind of satin-esque, and then some that are super, super shimmery, some that have like glitter and stuff in them. They're beautiful. Like this one is like, the light's almost literally blowing it out. They last all day on the lids. They blend out incredibly well. They're so damn beautiful. I will put this one on. This is my favorite shade in here. It's the shade Bubbles. But it's this beautiful kind of translucent shadow that has a ton of different shifts and sparkle in it. Stunning. Stunning. They are well worth the hype. If you can try Clionadh Cosmetics, I don't think that you'll be disappointed, especially if you do like, you know, shimmers and kind of glittery, like wet, yummy type glass-like shadows, sparkly shadows, multi-chrome, duochromes. Obsessed. This is such a stunning palette. Last up for the palettes is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I was not going to get this. First of all, the packaging, stunning. And I am a huge fan of Huda Beauty. Love Huda Beauty's products. This, for me, is not a typical Riri palette. We've already discussed that. But as I started seeing other people use it and seeing swatches and seeing their looks, I was like, I need that. And I'm happy to have it. I've done a couple looks. I have a look coming up very soon with this palette as well. I love that there are different textures and consistencies in here as well. There's some shadows that are super smooth, some that have a lot of like texture and glitter and stuff in them. It is another formula, in my opinion, that blends out really well, that wears well. That's super, super important to me. Longevity. If I spend time doing my makeup and then my eyeshadow's off my eyes or my blush is off my cheeks or whatever in an hour, I'm gonna be pissed. Lasts all day. I think it's absolutely stunning, especially if you can get it on sale, you know, it's worth trying. And then last but not least, oh my gosh, thank y'all for being here. Rebel Rouge Labs, I've been with her since the very beginning. She launched her Gemstone Liners collection this year. Absolutely obsessed. I have every single freaking color. I've used most of the colors. I also have some shorts up. I have TikToks and stuff up. She came out with basically every color you could imagine. They're incredibly affordable, and then she also has the bundle. This is the purple, the amethyst shade. I love these. They have that perfect consistency where they're quite opaque, they're long lasting, and they're smooth and they're creamy, but there's a little bit of a grip to them. Meaning, again, that they're not so soft and smooth and creamy that it just builds up and gunks up or that they don't wear well. These last forever. She killed it. She nailed it. I feel like I had a good blend here. These are all things that I really, really love, that I've been using consistently, and that I'm moving forward into this new year am also going to be using consistently. Are some of these your favorites? Were some of these in your best of 2022? Comment down below. Let's have that conversation. I love you, beauties. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.